Hey, welcome back. It's Tom again, Global Time Traveler. Today, I got something really special for you. About 9 months ago or so, I ordered a watch from a gentleman called Jochen Benzinger, who's in Baden-Baden, Germany. And it finally arrived, and I'm over the moon. This is an amazing piece of craftsmanship and engineering, and when I go in and tell you everything that was done by hand to make this watch just for me, it's going to blow your mind like it blew mine. At least I hope it will. Really pleased with this piece and looking forward to talking about it today and telling you a little bit about Mr. Benzinger and what he does, what products and companies that he works with and develops. And I hope that you'll stick around and enjoy it. It's going to be good. First, I got a couple of things here I'll share with you. Recently, I finished working at the Mission Commander upgrade course here in Qatar and received this really cool, nifty patch. Basically, it's my participation trophy for being in this. Actually, it's a little more than that. I performed air boss functions and some instructor functions for this, and it was really rewarding, very enjoyable, and I had a good time doing it. For today, looking at what I'm wearing, I received a new watch from Wise. This is the ADX 110. It is in a Bruce Wayne style, if you will. It's a true GMT with a Miyota 9075 movement inside. It has 904L steel on the case and the bracelet. It is a mostly polished, but with some brushed elements on it, as you can see there. Beautiful watch. Sorry about the focus. Looking at it, it has exhibition case back, where you can see a portion of the movement, a fully milled clasp with micro adjustment, and I'm really happy with it. This was about $600. My colleague at work has a GMT Master 2 in a Pepsi, I think it's Pepsi style. I don't really remember. I paid more attention to this than his, to be honest with you. We put them side by side and compare them. And to be honest, I think this compares very favorably. Yes, doesn't have the heritage, doesn't have the name, doesn't have the legacy, doesn't have the brand cachet of a Rolex. But I would say in all the ways that really count, in terms of just looking at the item for what it is from an objective basis, the bezel was just as nice. The movement is not, I'll give you that. The Rolex movement is better than an off-the-shelf Miyota. The case may be a little bit nicer on the Rolex. The bracelet may be just a little bit nicer. But this was $600. That GMT2, if you can get it from the AD, somewhere around 10, more than likely you're going to have to go gray. And now you're talking about 15,000. Is that watch really 25 times better than the Wise? I'd argue no. In fact, I did definitively argue no, it's not. So what to be said for one? If that's what you want, good on you, knock yourself out. For me, I'm happy with that. Okay, let's talk about my Benzinger. This is a Jaeger Benzinger Edition 3 in salmon. As you can see, it has a very nicely guilloche dial, and that dial was hand. So Mr. Benzinger operates his shop in Baden-Baden in the Black Forest of Germany. He's been working in this field for decades now. I don't exactly know how old he is, probably younger than me, but then again, Joe Biden's younger than me. But Jochen has worked with and for some of the biggest names in horology. He has 3 primary companies that have his name on them. So the entry level, which is what I got, is called Jaeger and Benzinger. And they make a line of watches that are more quote-unquote affordable, usually somewhere between 5 and 10,000 US. The next step up is Benzinger. In Benzinger, their primary offering is a watch called the Gap, the German-Austrian partnership, where Jochen makes the watch itself, but the innards, the movement, is manufactured Habring 2 out of Austria. And so with that partnership between the two of them, they put together a very, very beautiful, nearly customized watch. And the good thing about all of the Benzinger products is he builds them specifically to order. So you can select the type of movement that you want, the type of decoration on it, the dial, the decor, the style, the strap that comes on it, the type that you want, and he will make it to order. Now you will have to wait. Like I said, for me, it took about 9 months. My Dornblut that I have on order, that's going to take about 1.5 years to get. I'll probably get that sometime next summer. But they are worth waiting for because they are magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. The Gaps, Gap 1 and Gap 2, and there are slight differences between the two. Clearly, one's a version 2, one's a version 1. They are somewhere in the vicinity of about $15,000, $16,000, $18,000, which is not inexpensive. But when you start talking about his top of the line custom bespoke pieces for Grieb and Benzinger, those are well into 6 figures. There's a couple I saw in there that were inexpensive at $85,000, but generally speaking, they're a lot closer to $500,000 than they are 10,000. But Mr. Benzinger treats all of his customers exactly the same. He treated me like I was really someone special. Answered all of my emails immediately. And it wasn't just a 2-line, oh yeah, thanks a lot. It was a thoughtful, time-intensive, personal message from him to me, where he talked about what he does, how his life has been, what his objectives are, answered questions that I had, and I was just amazed. Because again, who am I? I'm nobody. I am absolutely nobody. But he took the time to treat me like I was important. And I think that says something about the man. Now, when you look at his collection of watches, and I'll show some photos up here next to my ugly mug, you'll see the intricate designs that, again, he does by hand. Now, the machinery that he uses is all hand operated. The only electricity in the shop is for the lights. Everything else is hand operated. And these machines, or as he calls them, tools, some of them are well over 100 years old. And of course, they were built back then to last. And they still function as perfectly today with proper maintenance that they did on the first day they were used. And so he makes all of those dials by hand. Now my dial here is sterling silver. And it has been hand engraved, hand guilloched on his machines, and then rhodium plated and sealed with a clear lacquer so that it doesn't tarnish. So it will stay that beautiful color, that beautiful salmon color, all the way through, which I think is spectacular. Now it does have a display case back, and I'll show some better photos of it here in just a few moments. Display case back that shows the FHF 96 vintage movement. His watchmaker in Florsheim was able to get about 50 models of this movement and was able to customize them, replace some of the bridges and plates and some of the screws and other small pieces of these movements in order to make them look customized and individual. And I think they've succeeded. As I said, these are beautiful. He offers skeletonized watches. He offers everyday styled watches. He offers highly intricate, unique pieces that you'd wear only on very, very special occasions. But again, as I said, I think they are worth it. It is just a spectacular piece of work. I'm going to show you some videos of Jochen both at work and the finished products so that you can have an appreciation for what he does as well. And I hope you're impressed, because I certainly am. All right, let's take a good close look at this edition 3. We'll start with the boring things, the dimensions. It's just about 39 millimeters across. It's about 11 millimeters thick, just under that. It has a 6.5 millimeter crown. It is just under 20 millimeters at the lugs. And the strap is non-tapered, 20 millimeters all the way from lugs to the deployment clasp. What you'll see on the mid-case is longitudinally brushed with a conical polished bezel. We talked about the dial already in terms of it being a sterling silver, rhodium plated, and rose gold plated, hand guilloched, and then topped with clear varnish so that there isn't any oxidation. The indices are Roman numerals. They're all engraved as well. And then along that indice chapter ring, you will see tiny little dots that delineate the minutes and seconds. The hands themselves are heat blued. The steel hands receive a temperature treatment. They raise the temperature slowly. As the steel changes color, they need to stop when it reaches the uniform blue that they're looking for. If they don't go long enough, it is not a uniform color. If they go just slightly too long, they turn black. So it's an engineering and an artistic feat. As we said, the bezel is fully polished, and the tops of the lugs are polished and make a very sharp delineation between the lugs and the sidewall mid-case. There is no chamfer there. There is no beveling along that edge. It is just purely a nice sharp seam. Looking at the mid-case from the crown side, you see the crown is nicely knurled. There's a little bit of decoration there in the center, but it's not necessarily a signed crown. The lugs sweep very nicely in a nice, lovely curve from the mid-case into the attachment points. Just beautiful. And very smooth and elegant on the 9 o'clock side. We have looked at portions of the movement and how nicely decorated that is. And the strap itself is a very nice calfskin leather. It is nicely bolstered, very comfortable, stitched on either side, lovely seam on the edge, and goes into that deployment clasp at the back. Now on the perforated end over here, the buckle of the clasp is secured to the strap via a small screw. So to adjust this, you need to remove that screw, place the post on the perforation that you would like, and then reinsert the screw. For me, I don't have the dexterity to do that. My meat hooks are just simply too clumsy, so I would need to bring that to someone to get that done. But overall, very, very nicely put together. Really pleased with the look, the finishing, and the quality of Mr. Benzinger's piece. Very, very happy with it. Okay, before I go to my closing, I just wanted to say thank you to Mr. Benzinger for this lovely piece. He doesn't make very many he doesn't make very many watches each year, and to allow me to get into the queue and to be able to purchase this watch, I really appreciate that. Thank you, sir. To those of you who are maybe thinking of one of these, I think it's completely worth the wait. It's worth the cost, and it's an investment that you will not be disappointed in. When I say investment, I don't mean it's going to appreciate the value. This isn't something that you're going to flip, but it's something you're going to hold on to. You may pass it down to your children, and it's something you can be really proud of. I know I'm really proud of mine. Couldn't be happier with it. And as I said, there are more pieces in my future from Mr. Benzinger. That Gap one I really like, especially in a deep blue dial, maybe with the silver chapter rings. Yeah, I like that. Anyway, for those of you who have joined me and stayed this far, thank you. I do appreciate that. May you forever be blessed with health, happiness, and good fortune. To those of you who have not, I'm a nice guy. Regardless of what somebody else may think of me, I'm a good guy, and I wish the same for you too. Well, thanks for being here with me today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got to see and appreciate some of Mr. Benzinger's work. I know for me, additional pieces are definitely on my horizon. Not in a position to get them right now, but I definitely will. Inshallah, as they say here. Anyway, thanks again for joining me. You can find me on TikTok, Global Time Travel 4, or on Instagram, Global Time Traveler Watches, and of course here on YouTube. If you'd like, please go ahead and subscribe. I'd love to get some comments if you have the opportunity to do so, and I'll try to get back to you. I don't check the account every single day, but I do try to respond to as many of them as I can. Of course, I've only got about 6 or 7, so it hasn't taken me all that much time. But that's okay. We're growing and we're getting better, and I appreciate the support that I get from the folks that are out there. All right, take care, be happy, be well, be kind, and we'll see you next time. Cheers.